There are moments in history when a single invention does not just change a war, it changes the fate of humanity. And this story begins in the Pacific. As the Pacific War dragged into its final bloody chapter, American commanders began to realize a haunting truth. The Japanese were not fighting to live. They were fighting to die. On Saipan, on Iwo Jima, on Peleliu, soldiers refused to surrender. They charged in suicidal waves. They blew themselves up in underground tunnels. They chose death over capture. And civilians, far from Tokyo, living on isolated islands, jumped from cliffs, believing that surrender was shame and death was honor. These memories burned into the minds of every officer who witnessed them. They understood that the closer they moved toward Japan, the more relentless, the more desperate the resistance would become. Island after island fell to American hands, but with each victory, the cost grew heavier. The generals asked themselves a terrifying question. What happens when we land on Japan itself? A nation ready to fight street by street, house by house, family by family. Estimates at the time were brutal. Hundreds of thousands of American soldiers could die. Millions of Japanese civilians could be lost. A tragedy so immense, it might scar the world for generations. And in that desperate hour, a new option emerged, not born from triumph, but from fear. For years, America had raced to build the atomic bomb, terrified that German scientists might reach it first. When Germany surrendered, the United States stood alone with a weapon that could end the war, or unleash something far worse. Then came Hiroshima, then Nagasaki. Two flashes brighter than the sun. Two moments etched forever into human memory. Countless lives were lost, a grief no explanation can erase. Yet military planners of that era believed that even this horror was less catastrophic than a full-scale invasion that could annihilate entire populations on both sides. Because if the atomic test had failed, if the bomb had not worked, if Japan had refused to surrender, the war could have stretched on for months, maybe years. Children could have starved. Cities could have turned to ash in desperate street-by-street battles. An entire generation lost. The world might not look the same today. Japan chose to surrender. The war came to an end. But the shadow of the atomic bomb never left us. The Cold War rose immediately afterward. A global race for nuclear weapons began. Dangerous, relentless, echoing into the present. And humanity was forced to face a difficult truth. A weapon created to stop a war became a threat hanging over every peace that followed. Yet when we look back at that moment, we understand something deeper. Sometimes victory is not simply defeating an enemy. Sometimes victory is stopping the world from falling into an even greater catastrophe.